Around this time of year, a lot of excitement starts brewing here in our household. Yes, wax is coming off boards, resorts are opening, snow is falling, but it also means that Rochelle and I are that much closer to our annual trip back to Japan. Anytime I talk to snow enthusiasts about this trip, there's a lot of excitement followed by a lot of questions. So I thought I could make a couple of YouTube videos that would live forever as a resource for anyone who wants to travel. I'm just going to dissect our trip from this past January 2023, and hopefully some of the insights that we gained can help you on your journeys. Rochelle and I took off from Salt Lake City, connected in Seattle, pushed on to Haneda, where we stayed the night, and then woke up, pushed up to Sapporo, picked up our rental car, and drove out to Niseko. We stayed in Niseko for 2 weeks and then pushed up further north for another week, making our total stay in Japan 3 weeks. Then we reversed all of that to end up back here in Salt Lake City. The grand total cost of this trip was $4,087 split 2 ways. Of all the expenses listed, the only one that I think I should touch on is the fact that, of course, our airfare was ridiculous. It was $220 for all of that travel. Probably not going to be for you unless you are also flight crew watching this. For the most part, we have our travels pretty dialed, so we didn't make too many mistakes on this trip. I will say I made the biggest rookie mistake and decided not to take the advice that I've been pushing for years, and that's never travel with new gear. For some bizarre reason, I traveled brand new boots I'd never worn. Got there, they were too big, I was swimming around those boots, ended up hitting a tree moving at a pretty good speed, and I account that all towards wearing boots that were too big. And this may seem obvious, but I'm a bit of a procrastinator. If possible, do not wait until the last day to wax your board. If you have a quiver that's deep enough, I would say the board you're taking to Japan, wax and tune the week before you leave. I was up till 3 a.m. the night before our flight, waxing boards for Rochelle and I. This next mistake is so small, I think it really speaks to how well we fine-tuned our travels to Japan. Rochelle, being the legend that she is, booked a bunch of reservations for us well before our arrival in Japan, but she used her Google Calendars to make note of this. The issue is, once we switched time zones, all of our reservations stayed in Salt Lake time, and they were all 1 day behind. Luckily, we caught on to that pretty quickly after showing up to our first reservation a day late. Really small, minute detail that could end up biting you in the butt once you got to Japan. Quick tips: pack your own medications, obviously your prescriptions, but more so your ibuprofens or allergy meds, anything along those lines. Yes, there are pharmacies all over Japan, but the issue is with Google Translate, some of the things might not be as clear as they would be here in the States, or there might be some active ingredients that they might not put inside their medications there in Japan. So it's just better to show up with a small little first aid kit. And while they were easy to find, I would say bring backup batteries for your beacon if you're doing any backcountry. Very humbling moment. We did a battery check and our tour buddy was slightly disappointed in Rochelle and I, as we were disappointed in ourselves, as our batteries were lower than I care to admit at this moment. Last but not least on the tips, pack a small collapsible duffel. There are tons on the market, but of course I'm going to plug my friends over at Deuter. The Deuter Duffel Pro is collapsible, it's 60 liters. Take that duffel bag and fill it up with all the Japanese treats at duty free to bring home to your friends and loved ones so that they too can have a taste of Japan. If I'm being honest, the packing job this time around, left a little to be desired. I overpacked. That is a cardinal sin in my life, as is traveling with new gear, so I guess I was breaking all kinds of rules this trip. I took 3 different bags. The Deuter Freerider 30 liter is my backcountry bag, but for traveling purposes, I used it to carry my electronics, my laptop, a few different cameras. The goggle compartment was perfect for storing those items that I needed to get to quick, my passport, my wallet, any other travel documents I was taking. The big bag I took was the Deuter Avient Access Pro 60 liter. It's a big bag. I used that to take all my soft goods and all the things that I wanted to overpack. I fit way too many jackets in that bag. I took 3. I never take that many jackets. I had 3 different pants options as well. This is just snow stuff. But then I also packed my base layers, my t-shirts, underwear, socks, etc. They were all inside that bag. And for our big gear bag, we took a Dakine giant bag that was loaned to us by our friend Sandra. We were managed to fit 2 split boards and 2 solid boards, 2 sets of bindings, 2 sets of boots, shovel, probe, and a couple other things inside that bag. But because we doubled up on all our gear, the bag was heavier and we had to carry boots and bindings around the airport in order for us to avoid paying for the bag. That's it for this video. I do plan on covering renting a car in Japan, the hotels we stayed at, the restaurants we ate at a future video. But if you think that there's something I won't get to and you need that question answered, leave it down below. You can also slide in my DMs on Instagram, text me, call me, beat me, however you want to reach me, type a scenario. I promise I'll get back to it because I obsess over talking about all things Japan, and all I want to do is inspire other people to get out there and come back and have stories that we can swap.